few weeks ago, Tesla finally had its Cybertruck delivery event. 4 years after its initial announcement, and after numerous delays to the actual delivery, the Cybertruck is officially here. And if you follow my channel, you know that I placed my very own Cybertruck reservation just about a week ahead of that event. Well, I gave it some time to let the information sink in, and I think it's about time that I give my reaction as a reservation holder to the Cybertruck delivery event and all we've learned since. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Max, and today I'm going to go over my thoughts on the Cybertruck delivery event and my reaction to everything that we've learned about the specs and features and price since that delivery event actually occurred. So let's start with the delivery event itself. Now I'm not going to go into play-by-play details since there's plenty of content creators out there who have covered it pretty extensively and who were actually at the event, so probably have a better insight than I do versus me who watched it at home, but I'll give a few thoughts and highlights. The event started a little late and we got, classic Elon presenting, which isn't surprising. It was kind of dark to begin with and there was a baby crying in the background, so it was a little bit distracting at the beginning, but it picked up some pace and they showed some great footage of the Cybertruck. They pulled it out and even recreated the ball throw demonstration, but with a baseball instead of a metal ball, so not a complete recreation, which was a little bit weird, but I guess that's whatever. Then we went on to actually get a bunch of truly impressive footage of the Cybertruck, including the impressive 2.60 to 60 time that outpaced previous estimates. We got the now infamous race up against the Porsche 911 while towing a 911 that I'm sure everyone has seen at this point. We got some incredibly impressive features, such as it being the first car with a 48-volt architecture, which will be huge in saving space and resourcing and wiring, as well as the steer-by-wire system that creates much more dynamic handling. And when all that was done, we watched Elon deliver about a dozen or so trucks, and then the stream ended. That was it. No price, no delivery timeline, no trim details, no production ramp details, nothing else. Now I know for those people at the event, there was a ton of other activities to do. They got to get hands-on with the Cybertruck, they got to see it in the black wrap. Some of them actually got to test drive the vehicle around the parking lot. But for me as a viewer at home, the ending of the event kind of felt flat and didn't give me nearly the type of information that I was looking for, especially as a reservation holder. Yes, the videos were cool and very impressive to see how resilient that car was and how safe it's going to be, but I wanted the actual details, not watch a bunch of random people get into trucks and drive away for half the video. However, I, like most people, went right to the Cybertruck page after the event ended and discovered that you could now order a Cybertruck by trim and see the applicable pricing and spec information on that site. That was not previously available, and this was the information I was more hoping to hear about at the event itself. So here's what we've learned about the trims from that site update. First, we have the rear-wheel drive model. Its estimated price is going to be $60,990. It'll be available in 2025, so not reaching production next year. The estimated range will be 250 miles, and its acceleration will be 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. Next comes the all-wheel drive dual-motor Cybertruck, which had an estimated price of $79,990. This will be entering in production in 2024. The estimated range is 340 miles, acceleration is 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, and it has a top speed of 112 miles per hour with 600 horsepower and towing capacity of 11,000 pounds. Finally, we have the Cyber Beast. This comes in at a whopping $99,990. Will be available in 2024 as well, similar to the dual motor, has an estimated range of 320 miles, acceleration 0 to 60 time in just 2.6 seconds, and will also have a towing capacity of 11,000 pounds. So yeah, the dual motor and tri-motor will start shipping production-wise next year, with the rear-wheel drive taking up the rear and might be available sometime in the 2025 timeframe, which might be a little disappointing to people who are looking for the more affordable model. It's also worth noting that reservation prices has jumped to $250 now versus the previous $100 that I spent, albeit still fully refundable at this time. So let's first talk about pricing. The base price for Cybertruck has increased from its initially announced $39,900 to $60,990. Similarly, the prices of the higher tier models have also seen an increase. The dual motor went from $49,000 to $79,000, and the tri-motor from $69,000 to $99,000. Performance-wise, the 0 to 60 acceleration times have changed. The rear-wheel drive model remains the same, while the dual and the tri-motor have actually become faster. So more impressive stat where the acceleration is concerned. However, with that improvement, we also saw some significant reductions in the mileage. Initially, the tri-motor model was advertised to have a 500-mile range. This is down to 320, with the dual motor actually having more range at 340. Now, the caveat to these range deltas is the range extender that we've seen advertised on Tesla's site. This allegedly would take up about 1/3 of the truck bed and add about 130 miles of range, getting the dual motor at least closer to that 500-mile range, but that'll run you an extra $16,000. So that's a pretty hefty price tag to get that initially advertised 500-mile range on an already more expensive vehicle than was advertised back in 2019. And finally, the towing capacity for the tri-motor is a little bit under the initial estimate of 14,000 pounds down to 11,000 pounds of towing. Another thing that was interesting is that we finally learned at launch that there will be 2 factory wrap options if you don't want to just go with the stainless steel look. They'll have the matte black, which we have seen a ton of at this point, but they'll also have a matte white, and I'm very interested to see what that looks like since I haven't seen any in-person video footage of that color. Also, since the launch day, the earliest reservation holders have actually been prompted to schedule their delivery if they go with a Foundation Series model. This adds a host of specs that I'll throw up on the screen now, including custom badging and a host of additional accessories. But it also comes at the additional cost of $20,000 to either the dual or the tri-motor trims, making them either $99,900 or almost $120,000 cars. These appear to be the first production rollout to the average reservation holder for those who locked in their reservation early. It's also worth noting that there's been a host of accessory releases from Tesla and third-party vendors, ranging from tents to exterior lighting, and basically any bed accessory you can think of, and you can check those out online now with their pricing and descriptions included. However, the glaring omission is any information on expected wait times for people that already have their reservation, or how many they've produced, and will continue to produce to get up to rate to make deliveries to the greater population. So, what do I think of all this? Well, the price was disappointing compared to the 2019 announcement. We are seeing almost a 20 to 30,000 increase across the board. However, given the economic climate and the pricing of comparative vehicles, I really didn't find that all that surprising. The original $80,000 price tag for what is essentially the plaid version of Tesla's biggest vehicle always kind of sounded too good to be true to me, and turns out it is. And the range, also disappointing. They way missed the mark on a 500-mile vehicle, and yes, the range extender gets you close, but at the sacrifice of the space in the truck that you might be buying it to begin with, and at a pretty hefty price tag for an already expensive vehicle. Again, I don't think either of these two complaints are completely shocking, but it's just a classic example of Tesla overpromising and underdelivering. I think if these were the original specs we'd received from the start, then the reaction would actually be much more positive, but just a pretty steep drop from setting expectations to have this incredibly affordable, high-performance vehicle that's outstripping the competition, down to something that's pretty in line with what's available price and performance-wise on the market today. However, I have to say my biggest gripe is probably the lack of delivery information. As someone who made a reservation and will potentially be spending close to $100,000 on a car, I'd kind of like to know when I can expect to have to make that payment and take possession of the vehicle. And we've heard nothing about their current production rates. It leaves many of us who have reservations wondering, when am I actually going to get this car? The website says the dual and the tri-motor will be delivering in 2024 when you go to order, but that has to be the earliest reservation holders. If you order that car today, I would say there's about zero chance you get it in 2024 unless suddenly everyone cancels their reservations. You really don't know when you're purchasing your order when your place in line actually is. Am I waiting 1 year to make this payment? Am I waiting 5 years to make this payment? And to me, I find that a bit frustrating just from a basic financial planning perspective. And to be honest, a longer wait isn't a bad thing, right? We've seen with the Model 3 and the Model Y, not only are the first versions of these deliveries a lot more expensive than they are down the road after a few years, but we see build quality drastically improve from the first year to the second year, third year, fourth year. So if it does take 3 to 4 years for them to prompt me for delivery for my Cybertruck, that's probably for the best in terms of price and quality. But it is frustrating that I don't know what to expect. Honestly, it's all I really wanted to hear from Elon during the event was to when the average person will get their truck and how long it will take them to catch up with current pre-orders. A car is a big purchase, and having that kind of information now so you can be adequately prepared to take that purchase and take that delivery when the time comes is very important to the average consumer, especially to me, who is very detail oriented and always likes to have a plan of action getting involved in any kind of commitment, especially one as big as this. Now, I will say I probably have come off a little bit negative in this video because I am talking about the things that I was dissatisfied with, but I will say I still find the truck and the information we've learned about it on the whole pretty incredible. The 48-volt architecture, the steer-by-wire, those are both pretty revolutionary when it comes to any car. Also, the exoskeleton and the software makes it probably one of the safest, if not the safest cars on the market, which, as a father of 2 young children, is incredibly important to me. And honestly, the range and towing capabilities are still great, even if they're lower than initially advertised. While the price is a far cry from what we saw back in 2019, it's now pretty comparable to their closest competitor, the Rivian. It's just not the price leader that we originally expected. And let's talk about the performance. In terms of speed and capability off-road, it's truly impressive, especially with that adaptive air suspension that they've added in. I think the interior of the truck looks great, and all the cabin and trunk capacity also looks awesome. For someone who would be buying this for a family vehicle that we can travel with, there's plenty of space to load it up, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And as iffy as I was with the original design because of how different it truly looked, it's really started to grow on me, especially with that matte black wrap. So will I be keeping my reservation? Well, for the time being, absolutely yes. I just really want to know when I'll actually be able to set up delivery, and I still don't know how that will work since when I placed my order, I was not prompted to choose a trim. I imagine at some point in time when I get closer to my delivery, they'll prompt me to pick the dual or the tri-motor, or even the rear-wheel drive. But given that those all will have different production lead times, I'm curious as to how that'll work and how that will affect people's place in line. All that to say, I'm still a huge fan of this car. My biggest issues is just wanting to know more, but I do suppose that some of the allure and hype around the Cybertruck is just simply not knowing what we are in for. Anyways, that's all I really had to talk about today. If you like this video and you want to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe to see more. Specifically, I'm very interested to see what you all thought about the Cybertruck delivery event in the comments, so please feel free to share that. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time.